Wondering why there are a bunch of pens and stuff in this shot? It's because I want to cover up that mess behind me, and also excuse my hair. It's my hair doing what my hair does. Anyway, I want to talk about that thing everybody calls coding now, but in my time we would say programming. Programming has changed a lot. I just saw a meme and it was basically somebody saying, oh shit, it sucks to explain a meme, but there is this Google window and a person is Googling how to get date in Java. And first of all, I was reading this, I was like, is Java's an island, right? Like, how to get a date with a hot girl? Is it not on Java? Oh, Java, the programming language. You're not getting any dates, dude. You're not getting any dates. And I was like, oh, they mean a date time. All right, a date time. How to get a date as an assist date. All right, sure. I know how to do that in all the programming languages I use, which none of those is Java, by the way. The meme was basically first-year data science student Googling this, and then the same prompt or the same query for senior developer after 10 years also Googling this, because supposedly people just never remember basic commands. Is that so? Sorry for the high-pitched voice. Is that so? Well, I'm not convinced, because back in the day when we used to learn programming from books, which was hell of a fuck annoying, we had to remember this shit. Otherwise, we would have to get out these giant books, look this shit up, waste a lot of time. If you can just look it up in your brain, that's way faster. And I think programming in that sense has changed a lot. And maybe code camps for everybody and coding for everybody is part of the problem. I don't know, because I've never gone to any of those. As a physicist, you are expected to learn a programming language or several of them just on the side. You know, you're just supposed to learn that because, you know, it's basic. People expect you to know algorithms, data structures, all that shit in C, then C++, and then basically Python if you're, you know, not into C. That is expected, that is like standard. Like knowing Python is absolute standard for a physicist, and you know, a lot of physicists afterwards, after studying, they go into some programming job anyway, so you're expected to just teach yourself programming. Personally, I don't think that is the best way to learn how to program, because you are supposed to learn all that shit properly in a nice lecture. While I'm not for gatekeeping stuff that you can, you know, get a self-taught expert at, I do think that gatekeeping knowledge, or academicizing, is that a word? Knowledge is a good thing in many ways, because it keeps the quality standard high. In some cases it doesn't really quite work, and I totally support the criticism on that, but I do think that especially in the field of computer science, a very solid academic education is pretty helpful, because you can see the difference in somebody who learned just to code by themselves, by troubleshooting, using Stack Overflow and copy pasting code snippets all the time, and you can tell the difference to somebody who has learned this in university, has gone through several annoying all-nighters just to hand in the exercises on time. Like, yeah, like, first of all, frustration and pain tolerance, and secondly, you are also so much more of a structured thinker. You will be able to problem solve on a higher level just because the pain academia puts you through. And if you just learned to code like because it's fun, and you didn't really have problems to solve, and you just took a course and you just did the things that you like to do and not the things that you had to do, that is a fundamental difference. So yeah, I am all for learning how to program in university, but a valid criticism to that is applicability and, you know, all the social skills, teamwork skills, stuff like that you not necessarily learn in university. So I'm kind of in the middle of this. I think both ideas are valid, and you can certainly be a super good programmer if you learn to code by yourself, but also in university. And you can also be a crappy programmer if you learn how to code in university. But my experience, more of the crappy programmers are the ones who did not learn how to code in an academic or a course setting. So that's just my experience from working with people. However, the problem with academic programmers is also that they usually lack a subject. And by that I mean, if you have a physicist or a mathematician, their main subject is mathematics or physics, or even biologists. They do a lot of data science today, and some of them kind of suck at it because biology, usually their strong suit is not math, and math really helps you with programming, with analytical thinking, and so it's a good thing to be pretty good at that. Personally, I can't hear people saying like, oh, if you are into linguistics and you learn how to code in Python, you're going to be fine, and you be a data analyst and be a data scientist. Oh yeah, I love that word. I don't know, somebody who holds a data science certificate, fuck that. Anyway, scientific background matters. Can we just stop saying that it doesn't? Because some people are successful despite the fact of having no scientific background. It is still despite and not because of. So back on topic, subject is a very important thing. As a physicist, I know applications where programming is needed. And so I am the intersection between the problem and the solution. But if I am just a programmer with no background in any like mechanical engineering, physics, mathematics, biology, life sciences, whatever, I am just that, a programmer, somebody who can formulate code. It's like a writer with no life experience. Like maybe you are going to write an awesome book, like a great novel, form-wise, but what is the content? And that is really a problem in tech companies and also basically all non-academic situations where you need to code for a purpose. Having a subject as a strong background, an intellectual background, that is very, very important. And people underestimate that, and people overestimate academic skill in programming by itself, isolated from this whole life experience and subject background. So I think we need to be cautious about all of this. We need to be aware of the fact that it's bad to be a shitty programmer because you skipped all of the academic pain. But we also need to be aware of the fact that you can be a shitty programmer just because you are too academic and don't really know any applications of the stuff that you are doing. Anyway, closing the circle to this meme. Back in the day when I learned how to program, it was not a thing to look up stuff. You basically had no possibility to get that kind of information from a forum, maybe a mailing list, and you could look it up in books, and it was very, very annoying. Programming back then was harder because you had to use your own brain, but in the end you would be better at it. And so I think that is why a lot of boomer programmers or older programmers are just looking down on the new generation that codes everything using Stack Overflow and just copy pasting and asking people how to solve their own problems, because they lack analytical thinking skills and they lack pain tolerance. They skip to Google right away if they can't come up with like, what is a date? They don't even know how to do a search. Like personally, for instance, let's go with a data science language like R. I know how to search for that kind of function within the IDE or within the R environment, right? I don't need the internet for that. Maybe I do have a boomer mindset, but I'm just not a fan of not remembering anything and being like, oh, I know how to look it up. I know how to do it in principle. I know how this would work. I know how I would write this algorithm. I just have to think about it a little bit. That essentially makes you a shitty programmer. A good programmer does remember a lot of the manual. A good programmer doesn't have to read all of this shit once the problem comes up. You don't have to be a dictionary, but your basic functions, you have to know them by heart. If I wake you up 3 a.m. and I'm like, hey, how do I pull a date in Java? And you're a Java programmer and you don't know that? Like, dude, that is such an academia thing to say, you know, I don't need to know it by heart because that is stupid. Only stupid people learn stuff by heart. And the real intelligent ones, you know, they know the theory. They don't have to use any numbers, that kind of thing. I've been there and I'm glad I got out of there. Anyway, learn to understand your programming language, whichever one it is. I hope not Java. And enjoy your life. That's it.